Welcome, 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 welcome. One welcome for every episode. I think that's probably the route I should take, Dylan. I'm only joking, because then if we get to 100 episodes, which we will one day, then we'll probably have too much. See, Dylan, this is why I'm not really sure about the microphone being here, because it's quite low and I look like a hunchback of Notre Dame.
You don't have to speak into it, because I've boosted the levels.
Okay, so I can just speak back here?
You can just speak back there.
Right, okay. But it still feels weird. I like to speak into it. I'm just going to bring it up. It doesn't matter if you can't see my face. You need to see the guest's face. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it's about.
I've got a face for radio, though.
Well, we haven't introduced you yet, so we need to introduce you, and then we'll see, and we'll let the commentators decide how beautiful or non-beautiful your face is. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a guest on the show, as I do the Antonio Talks show. This guest is quite renowned in the industry, and has also been in the industry for probably since the dawn of the real major recruitment industry happened. And I'm excited to get your information on, I guess, what you've seen and noticed over the years. Andy Hallett, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
How are you, Andy?
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, nice journey up here.
Yeah,
So,
did you walk?
I walked, yeah.
Good.
Got to get my steps in, and then the extra 3 floors were, just bonus steps.
That's great, because, usually senior people in the recruitment industry like yourself, they don't walk, they just take cabs because they have the go.
No, generally walking. I've got to keep the weight off.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much for coming on. I think we're going to have a really good show today. I think we've got a lot to discuss. But before we do that, we go through yourself first of all. So I'd like you to talk about yourself. Who are you? What's your story? How did you get here sipping water? And usually, guys, as you know, we sip beer, but I'm literally in the middle of on the end of a cold at the moment. So I'm not drinking beer. Andy's not drinking beer. We're on the water this time. So let's see how different the show is.
Yeah, cool. I've got some analysts to see after this. So,
awesome.
I've got to make sure that I'm on point. So, I work for S3. S3 are a public listed company. So at this point, I should just say nothing I say should be taken as advice around buying shares or just advice in general, really. So don't take anything too seriously. So, I've worked for S3 a number of years. I started as a trainee recruitment consultant on the contracts desk at Huxley in 1999 in London. Opened our office in Reading with a guy called Scott Fulton, who's our director out in the Americas now. And did that for about 6-7 years, and then worked for Huxley as commercial manager and latterly S3 as commercial director. Changed jobs last year, and now I'm responsible for the investments around our innovation and our new ventures.
Great. Could I just ask you to move over to here, so you can you're more speaking into the microphone. Dylan, can you just organise that microphone slightly for Andy? Awesome. Thanks very much for sharing. So, what brought you into the industry?
Do you know what? I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a couple of mates who were working in recruitment. So one was working at Computer Futures, one was working at Progressive. Clearly neither of them wanted to work with me, so they recommended a company called Huxley Associates. So I turned up, as you do. The guys were earning, they're talking about the sort of money they were earning, and I thought, I'd actually done some sales previously, so I thought, I'll give it a go and give it a whirl. And when you walk into a place and it just felt right, we were on the sixth floor of America Square, it just felt like the city, and it just felt something very, very special. Back then it felt like being in a trading room in the city, but not in banking.
Yeah.
Clearly my degree didn't put me forward to do that. So.
Sure, and so, do you think it was easier to make money back then in recruitment than it is now?
100%.
In what ways?
Definitely. I mean, if you look, the average recruitment consultant is probably billing around, is probably billing significantly less than they used to in those days. If you just look at the amount of yield that people get, and I think recruitment has really sort of evolved as it's become more of a profession. In a lot of senses, it's become quite commoditized, a little bit regulated. So yeah, I think those days of are probably gone.
And how does that make you feel? Does that as someone who's been through that and pre-money, or I guess to a moderate amount of money. I mean, you can still make a good bit of money in the recruitment industry, but I get the picture that back then it was like crazy cash.
Yeah, it was, and I think recruitment was very different then. It was probably the state agency of the '90s, certainly when I joined. But I think it's really grown up as a profession.
Did the market, how did they perceive you at recruitment agents back then? So in the '90s, how did people? So when you'd make a call or something, how would you be responded to?
I think.
Was it the same as today? Because I think there's more of a disdain for recruiters today than there is back then.
I think
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Back then as well, there was a certain point around educating the market. So not everyone was aware what an agency did. So actually, you had to not only explain what your service and what your unique proposition was. You almost needed to explain what a recruitment company was. So in a lot of ways, it was a different type of sell. Do you know what? I think it was still challenging, but the challenges are a lot different now. I think the challenges are a lot more around how you proposition yourself, more around the brand. I think the biggest change I've seen back then, it was all about the product. If you had the CV, data, uniqueness. We prided ourselves at S3 as we always had all the candidates, because back then we would block book Compute Weekly. So
where would you store them?
Oh, back then, filing cabinets.
Really?
Yeah. So, I joined just as the digital transformation happened.
Right.
So, literally, it was moving from filing cabinets, and I think they had email 6 months before I joined.
No way.
So the way you deliver CVs were incredibly different. After I joined, the fax was the premier way of getting it. And actually, if you emailed it with a front sheet, you were pretty flash, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much the queues at the fax machine. You used to get your responses come in. The responses used to get emailed in, and you basically had them printed and delivered to your desk. So you'd go back through, and we had a team somewhere. I think they're in Glasshouse Street, who would call bridging. So they would take the CVs and they'd put them on the system, so you had a database, and we even had some keyword searching back then.
Really? So what did you do? In the filing cabinets, would they be categorised by skills and then A to Z, or how would it be categorised?
Do you know what? I come in the generation, and I sort of got taught the new way.
Yeah, cool.
So for me, it was all about coding up CVs. So we had a product called Easy Access. And what you did, you'd code up the CV. So you'd say, were they contract, were they perm, what locations they were looking for, and what the skills were. So if you had a hot job come in, very quickly go to your codes. So you'd say, right, contract. I used to work Thames Valley market, Thames Valley, tester, mobile networks. Bang, there's your list. And you talk to these guys, you qualified them. So it was a bit more. I joined after the days of the Rolodex, but I've sort of seen that evolution through. Paper to and even if you were to put an advert on a job board these days, just go through your Broadbean, whatever, and post it through your ATS system. You actually had to write out the advert and fax it off, and someone at JobServe would literally type it in, and it would appear magically on the internet.
Bloody hell!
Yeah,
those are the days. A lot of manual labour.
Yeah, a lot of manual labour, and actually, what you've seen you've gradually seen that evolution. But the biggest thing was that we didn't have the amount of the candidate ownership was the really, really important thing. Holding that data was so important. I think the big change I've seen in the industry is how you use the data is the big change now, because you can go and get the data, you can go and buy a CV library subscription, you can go and buy LinkedIn, and you can get potentially to the people you need to get to, but it's how you get there and how you filter that down. And how you package it, the service around it, that's really, really important now.
Yeah, so obviously you're investments director, so you're looking at the future of S3, right? That's your role, to look at the future, what's happening. So does that mean that you guys are concerned about the future of recruitment, and you're looking to invest and diversify because you don't believe in recruitment, or what does that mean?
We 100% believe in recruitment, but we absolutely believe recruitment's going to change, and how we do things is going to change. I think you only need to look at all sorts of other industries and just see how disruption has come and done that. Most organisations try and deal with disruption when it's too late. Yeah. So what we're doing is that we set out where we think we'll be in 5 years. We're getting great growth, as you can see from our presentations. we've been over the last few years into the US, into Germany, into continental Europe. UK, has been relatively stable. So yeah, that's good. But actually, will it change? Absolutely.
In what ways?
I think the way that people find jobs will change. I think the methods that I think just how people work as well. The whole gig economy piece. So actually, we're driven by social trends, and we're also driven by the economy as well. So as things change, as the skills change, as new roles start to come about, maybe they won't be the classic perm, maybe they won't be the classic contract, and actually maybe our customers are wanting something more than we currently do. So we effectively created the ventures unit to. I think you can't generally look at innovation and change if you've got a day job to do. So actually, because the moment you have a bad month, you revert to type. You go back to doing it. So what we're effectively doing is scouting the market. We're looking out there. We're looking at industry trends. We're looking at where we think we need to be. We're looking at what our competitive advantages, and just coming up with a plan to future-proof ourselves.
And what horses are you betting on?
Well, we've. I think we need to first and foremost the horse we bet on is a customer. So who are our customers going to be, and what services do they want? So pretty much the horses we'll bet on are whatever our customers will demand, and what the services and products they'll be wanting to consume in 5-10 years will be. And also as well, I think the other thing we need to be really clear on is everyone thinks that the customer is the person that pays the bill. What you're actually seeing is, potentially the customer, is the candidate in the truest sense as well. Their sort of ability to choose who they work with, is becoming increasingly important. It always was, but even more so in times of sort of skill scarcity. So yeah, in terms of that, once you understand what it is that the customers want, then you can, the technology should, in theory, and the strategy, how you do it, just fall into place.
And so, what do they want? What does a candidate want?
I think a candidate wants a seamless experience. So if you look at consumer behaviour in anywhere, they want a trusted service, they want an efficient service, and they probably want the lowest point of friction. And all of the research we've done, however the methodology we look at, pretty much comes down to those three things. And do you know what? It's exactly the same with the client. So a recruitment organisation is effectively a broker. It brings, our straplines bring talented people together to build the future, and that's exactly what it does. So we bring people together. That's what we do as recruitment organisations. So we have to become relevant. We have to be super relevant to them. And actually, I think as an organisation, recruitment probably needs to be less transactional, because where you were saying, where does recruitment perhaps get a bad name, is because it's quite transactional. Have you got a job? If not, I'll move on. Are you looking for a job? If not, and actually that's where I think it has got a bad reputation and image in the past.
I think so. From my perspective, there are three things that are broken, and we've discussed this before, which are the discovery, the qualification, and the transactions. Those are all broken, and then they're not broken. They just haven't been evolved.
They're not optimized.
Evolved. And so if you think about the transactions, you want that seamless experience. It has to be in one place, right, rather than in multiple places. If you think about discovery, those connection points need to be relevant. You need to get the information as fast as possible. And actually, I don't think a candidate. I don't think they will. They're precious over who they're going to work with. They're precious over the person, but really they just want the quality people to work with, and whoever's quality, they'll just work with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same as an employer, but right now, all that quality, that information, or until 2 weeks from now, that information is just not. It's just not there. There's no transparency in our industry, and it's because the old ways are too lucrative. The old ways are too lucrative, so everyone's prevented it from moving forward. But as you said, the customer dictates, the market dictates what they want. And if you can create something for the market, that's when you crush it, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So there's a rumour going around the industry that S3 or investments steal people's ideas. So I've heard in the industry that you guys are stealing people's ideas. Tell me a bit more about that.
I don't think we do, and I think we do see a lot of things come across our desk. We do, we've got a strategy around, as I say, delivering the tech for against our strategy, and we basically have a decision. Do we buy it? So if a company's doing it brilliantly, and we think that's going to give us a competitive advantage, we would look to acquire it, bits of it or all of it. If they're doing something that is really good, potentially we'd look to use it. We'd be a customer. But if it's something that's so core to us, and actually, do you know what, we cannot let this, be in the hands of someone else, and this is so core to us, then we build it. So, really good example of that is what we do with our Salesforce system. So, we use vanilla Salesforce with the CRM because actually it's the world's #1 CRM. We ain't going to add any value to CRM. But what we have done is, when we scoured the market 2, 3, 4 years ago, even around the search capability, that sort of uniqueness to how we get hold of candidates, we built something that pretty much we feel is unique, and so actually that was pretty core to our business. So. Various other things we've built. We've built our product called Talent Deck. Talent Deck is our, you can see it at talentdeck.com, is our disruptive play around matching IT developer talent, but not just around the hard skills, around cultural fit. We're building up our Hire First product, which we're calling which effectively is hybrid recruitment. So that's where we're automating a lot of the tasks we talked about, those data-driven tasks. And we've built our video product Showcaser. When we actually looked at what our customers wanted and what we felt was there in the market, we felt that actually we scouted it, and if we could have used it and been a customer, we would have. But we've built something pretty unique to us, and with the ability to be pretty unique, we think, to the market. So look, I'd like to dispel the rumours. Generally, we're I think we're a pretty straight company, and we don't. If we get a reputation of going around nicking people's ideas, no one's going to want to come and want to speak to us.
Yeah, video though, I find like, and I've got some great friends who've got some great video products, and I say to them, why would you use a video? Why won't the company just use Skype and record a Skype call?
Well, it's interesting. Video is the challenging one. So I'll flip that back and say video technology for interviewing has been around 10 years. Why is it not tipped? Why is there not #1? And we've got to work out why that is. So you've got to work out, once you solve the problem of why someone like me is quite happy to post on Facebook videos, Instagram videos, but is not happy to share a video interview, for example. And once you start breaking down the reasons why that is, and you turn the proposition on its head, then I think potentially you've got an idea around that. So for us, the challenge around video is that if you're a white collar STEM individual and you have a choice between taking a job where you have to do a video or a job where you don't, you're a candidate in demand, you'll choose not to do a video. So the challenge for us is, what's that utility for the person to do the video? What's the use past the transaction? What's in it for them? Because if you look at the majority of the systems, something like
and how does Showcaser do that?
We flip the model on its head.
So what is it? Tell us.
So we've flipped the model on its head. So it's all about the user. So we went through, and our prototype, click to view. We looked at what worked, what didn't, and there was a number of things that came out of it. But principally, the biggest bit of feedback we got was from my mother-in-law. So my mother-in-law looked at when it did it, but then didn't press the publish button because, one, she didn't know where the video was going, she didn't know who was going to see it, and she didn't know that she could take it down. So again, that's a barrier to someone getting on, and the video is incredibly powerful. The ability to get your personality out across video, as you're doing now, is massive. And actually, if we can lower that barrier, so we completely flipped the product on its head and said, actually, all of the video products we've seen are all about the person asking the questions. Now, in a post-GDPR era, the whole thing is going to be around who owns the content. Well, the person doing the video owns the content. So we completely flipped the proposition. So it's all about the individual. So it's all about, if you like, in the recruitment use case, all about the candidate. And actually,
But how?
Well, the point is, a video interview is done as a screen. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's by its very premise, it's there to catch someone out.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
so the whole thing is actually the previous prototype product was click to view. That's great. People thought they were taking an interview, so again they're very nervous about it and that. But again, we flipped it on its head. The whole point about showcasing your talents is you've absolutely got to get it right. You can practice it as many times as you want. You can retake it as many times. You can send it to who you want to. You can make it public. You can pull it back. You can delete it. The power's in your hands. So in a post-GDPR world as well, companies don't want you don't want lots of videos flying around.
But why wouldn't I just do that on my phone? Because then I actually own it. It's actually on my phone, so I can just film myself now. I own it. It's there. I can send it in an email to someone.
Yeah, the biggest
message it to someone.
The biggest competitor, you're absolutely right, is going to be the two things where the product will sit between is the mobile phone.
The main tech, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and posting it on LinkedIn. What we're building in is the ability to pose a challenge. So, for example, you want to get feedback on your product recruiting, right? You can basically go out and say, these are the structured things I want answered back. And actually, if you're just doing a video, you've got no structure to it. You can do a video, it can be you surfing, it can be you playing volleyball, but there's no structure to it. So what it actually does is it brings structure to it, so you can be very specific. You then, as a user and receiver, can see that, and then you can decide which bits you want to take from it. So, but again, should you decide you don't want those surfing pics anymore, you can pull it back. Now, the moment you email someone a video,
you can't take it back.
No, you can't. It's gone. So, in the same sense that you've got the mobile phone and emailing it there, and you've got YouTube there, we'd like to think we're somewhere in the middle. YouTube doesn't have a structure in the same way. And look, we're building communities. So the whole point is, there will be a brand, there's going to be a branded community. So what you might actually want to do is, take that feedback and share it with people. But you want your branding on it.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So you build a community in your space, and then you just all posting each other videos.
Yeah,
just all
and
going.
The whole principle is as well. So look, why does my mother-in-law use Facebook? And it's a simple reason that probably one of her friends sent her one of these and said you've got to get on it. So we'll allow people to ask questions to other people and post it up there.
The question is, have you had any dick pics going out yet?
No, not yet. We've worked on our so the challenge is out there, guys.
That was one of the concerns my team brought up when we had when you could do direct message each other video on the platform.
Yeah.
And they were like, but what about dick pics? And I was like, well, what about them? I was like, well, if it happens, we'll have to just deal with that bridge when we cross it.
Yeah, look, so we've got an MVP product out there. So the MVP's out there, and actually these are things you've got to find. So we're pretty pleased with what we've done, but it's not the finished article yet. It's the concept. It's working it. We're building it, so we see how people use it. We think we've got the great thing about a product for S3 is we've got 2,000 sales consultants ready to go, ready to use it. We've built in a way, we get 114,000 applications every month, so we're going to give the opportunity for every person who applies for one of our roles, at the point where they're most interested in doing the video, to do a generic showcase. They can share it on LinkedIn. That's great because there's utility past just doing it with S3, and they know that it's hosted, so they can pull it back down. Anyone using that video, viewing that video, has got no GDPR issues because they're not. The video is hosted by us.
Awesome. Sounds really cool. Sounds like a really cool product.
Thanks.
So, in terms of, let's go back to recruitment and the traditional realms of recruitment. How much hands-on traditional recruitment do you have with S3 at the moment, or did you just completely away from it? No. Are you completely hands-on, or?
Yeah, no, completely off. I did recruitment until 2005. I was on contracts. I was contracts consultant. There was a team leader and manager, but I still get involved in some of the the bigger tenders, the bigger pitches occasionally. I mean, I think probably one of the things about recruitment is sometimes the best salespeople just end up managers. So actually, some of your best assets end up basically not doing what they're good at. So, So no, we're ring fenced. So we're obviously work closely with the sales leadership.
Do you miss it? Because your office is quite nice. I've been in it. It's you've got a nice view. So I mean,
yeah. Do Do you know what I do miss the buzz of sales. I do miss the coming in the morning, nothing on, and going home, having rung the bell, and created something from nothing. So yeah, I do miss that. And the great thing about sales is it only takes that call to turn it around. It only takes that mail. It only takes that person hitting your inbox that's just brilliant. That you know what it's like.
Yeah,
you see someone you like your replacement, or the job comes in. I've got the person for that.
Yeah, cool.
So actually, I do miss those. But I get that in other ways now. So there's a couple of things we're looking at the moment, and you see a company come in, and you're like, that's brilliant. So we've seen stuff that we're planning to invest in. We've seen stuff we have invested in. We've seen stuff that we won't invest in because it's not within our investment criteria. But wow, that's just amazing. So there's 2 or 3 things that, so do you know what? It's like being on the Dragon's Den sometimes. So you're actually seeing loads of, and I think the thing I'm most enjoying at the moment is the sort of community that this has given. We're in and amongst, we're a corporate, but obviously the stuff we're doing is smaller. So some amazing people out there with some amazing ideas, and what I do get, which I used to get in sales, is just that energy around the startup. That sort of, when I started doing recruitment, you open an office, that feeling of, right, we're 8 people, but we're going to fill this till we're 50, and you get that feeling dealing with a lot of these companies. I think a lot of companies at the moment that you see, they've got great ideas, they're raising a lot of money, and actually that's the bit that they don't enjoy. You can just see it with the founders. The bit they enjoy is the product. The bit they don't enjoy going out and raising.
Yeah, see, I love it. I love the.
Do you love raising?
Yeah, absolutely do. Yeah, I'm a business developer.
But you've got your crypto to sort all of that out, haven't you? You just.
What do you mean?
Your cryptocurrency. So
we're going to be building that, absolutely, but we're still raising. So we're raising for the early stage to build, integrate to the blockchain. That's exactly what we're doing. So yeah, I absolutely.
So real money followed by crypto.
Exactly. Which is, but the crypto isn't going to be a crypto. So I think we've got to separate this whole crypto and blockchain. It's going to be a crypto, but it's going to be a utility coin more than a cryptocurrency. Okay. Because I think this whole people think blockchain is crypto and crypto is blockchain, but it's not. It's absolutely not, right? So the whole point is it's going to be a utility coin, which is going to be used on our platform for transactions, right? And that can mean anything. So and there's value in it. But it's not a cryptocurrency, which is important to note that to everyone out there.
I'd just like to get that from a regulator's point of view.
Well, no, just to dispel the
crypto myth.
The crypto myth, exactly. And I think that I did a talk on blockchain last week at the Digital Festival in Cardiff. Cool. And this was one of the first questions that come up was that what cryptos should we invest in? And I was like, look, we're not here to talk about crypto. We're here to talk about blockchain. Blockchain, that's a block and how it can impact.
Blockchain's really exciting.
Blockchain's fucking fantastic, and it's very exciting. So, what do you look for then from an investment? So you're talking about criteria. What do you look for in investments then, and what's the criteria there?
Generally, the criteria we can look for. So, we're looking for something that gives us potentially an advantage. So, anything we would look to invest in. We would generally look for something where we could add value as well. So, if you like, what our uniqueness here? We've got a balance sheet. Okay, we've got an international organisation. We're effectively a business that runs as a payments factory. We've got a massive contract division. So, and we've got experience of building businesses. So, actually, we've got a whole heap of data and experience and people and relationships and networks. So,
do you think experience is important when it comes to innovating?
Yeah, massively so.
Really?
Yeah, some of the I think you've got people coming in trying to solve problems where they've got no experience of the industry. So actually, the smartest guys are the people who've got experience doing the industry. They know where it's broken, and they come in and they fix the problem, and they're saying this is the solution to the problem. What you're seeing sometimes is tech companies coming in thinking because we see it a few times. I'm a developer and I had a bad hiring experience, so therefore I'm going to change the whole way, and it just doesn't work. So what we're looking for is something where we can add smart to it. So actually, by us making an investment, we can move them on further, and we can actually add to it. or we can get something out of it as well. So it may well be that it's a very exciting early stage product, and actually, well, do you know what the benefit is? We might do a seed or an early stage investment potentially, but the benefit for us longer term is, well, we actually roll this out. Really good example is Robo Recruiter.
Yeah.
So have you come across those guys?
No.
Robo Recruiter, fantastic product.
Shit name though, isn't it?
No, it's brilliant.
Robo Recruiter.
It says what it does.
That is a shit name. I'm sorry guys, but you need to sort your branding out. Robo Recruiter.
Robo
You
Recruiter.
could call it, I don't know, there's something better. It just sounds a bit toyish. Kids, and we're a creative agency too, so we're very good at branding. I think Robo Recruiter is a bit of a childish name. You'd have to rebrand that.
All right, I'll speak to them. I'll mention your point, and,
Yeah.
and then I think they'll ignore it. But however,
That's fine.
So potentially what it does is that, as that company grows, then potentially our investment in that obviously grows, but we can obviously give them use cases. I believe we're the first enterprise deal that they did, and actually we can trial it for them, we can push it out, we can be their first customer, and we can really, really push it out. And actually, the really interesting thing is people would rather speak to a robot than a recruitment consultant in a lot of cases.
No, I disagree with that. I absolutely disagree.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. They would rather speak to a competent recruitment consultant, but it's the duty of companies, under even S3 for instance, to train up your staff to make them as competent as possible. People let's take this for instance. Let's take this. I go to a restaurant. Okay, I don't just go for the food. I go for the experience.
Yeah.
Right? And so if a robot was doing the experience, I wouldn't enjoy it. I totally wouldn't enjoy it, and most people wouldn't. Most people want to communicate with humans, but they want to feel like they've been listened to. Robots don't listen to you; they process data, and they don't have empathy. So when I go in and I go into and someone's looking, I'm really sorry, sir, that your food's not to taste. Let me go get you something. Let me go sort that out. Even if I have a shit food experience and someone's been a really great experience, I feel better about that.
So you don't use vending machines?
I mean, but look, vending machines. No, actually, I don't use vending machines actually.
But for the transactional piece.
But people don't want you were just saying earlier it's too transactional recruitment.
No, but for the and going back to my point around giving people what they want. So do you know what? Potentially, if you're a candidate and you want to update your details, do you want to be doing that on a call when you're busy, or a call when you're at home with your family, or actually, it's transactional stuff. Is are you available? Where you're looking to do, what your skill set is. You know what? Actually, you can interact with it, and you can do those basic things. Do you know what? You're absolutely right. That whole thing of, once you pass that, the basics of, what's your career, what's your aspirations, what's going to make the difference in the next contract role, where can you add value, get that personality out. Absolutely. Robots are way off that in terms of actually being able to understand that and do that. So, but actually, for that lower level, the paradigm I always use is internet banking, right? So 20 years ago, and it's pretty unadvanced. You couldn't do much on the internet banking. But if they'd shut all the branches and said, you're all going to go and use internet now, or telephone banking, there'd been riots in the street, runs in the banks. But what they actually did was they made the experience so much better that people actually do it. So now you choose to do it on your phone, or you choose to do it online. And actually, it's actually a bit of a pain.
But the thing is, something so transactional as checking or cashing my check. I don't really want someone to go, how was your day? I'm not really too bothered. I just want my money in the bank, right? Yeah. But it's recruitment and people.
So if you're a contractor, okay.
It's contractors.
How many calls a day do you get saying, are you available?
But contractors, granted, but they would still deal with the main recruiters that they know and they've had great experiences. They've been on a piss
Absolutely.
up with. I think I get what you're saying, but I disagree that people would rather speak to a robot than a recruiter.
The point is, we get.
Huh?
Self-service.
Self-serve. Tell me about it. What about it, Dylan?
Would you rather go to a person or self-service?
But again, I'm trying to just get out of the shop as soon as possible. I'm not, contractors want a job as soon as possible, definitely. But they still would trust a recruiter that they've dealt with for 10 years because they've had that experience. They know them inside out. So if someone calls me up, hi Jim, how's it going? Oh, how's Trudy, your child? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, you can't replace personal connection.
in a cashier, she's not going to know, or he's not going to know, my life. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes they don't need to.
There are cases for it, I think, absolutely.
Definitely. Can we agree on that?
I agree.
We'll
I totally agree.
disagree on everything.
But I agree that they are. I disagree that it's in recruitment.
Oh, do you know what I think?
It's not empathy. Do you know what I mean? And how can your robo recruiter deal with how can it deal with a counter offer?
It won't. The whole point is it's a basic tool for doing the things that other transactions.
But that's an email, right? An email. I'm available then. I'm available this. That's a transaction.
I know, but with an email as well, it's not interactive. So
By the way, I'm playing this just for a good show.
No, that's cool. I think it's an excellent show. But the thing about the robots are always there. So the thing is, if I send you an email, okay, you've got to respond to that. Now, if I send you an email at 10 o'clock tonight, chances are that I'm not going to get that. Well, I don't know you that well, but maybe I'm not going to get that back till morning.
No,
so
you will. Mate, it depends on how
Robo Antonio.
Where in my P's it is.
Okay, cool. So anyway, it comes through, but the good thing about the robot, it's always ready.
Yeah.
So it's always there ready. So when you answer back, guess what? The robot's there. If the robot's got a follow-up question, it is there. So look, we've seen some benefit in automating some of the stuff that is transactional, and actually our experience has been that actually the candidates prefer it. You know, potentially because you know, it suits them better. You know, they don't want to be taking a call on the train at 7 o'clock. The robot can do that, and when you get to the next station, the robot's there with the answer and the next thing. So for the basic stuff, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, but to get rid of that whole, are you available?
Yeah, all that, the high volume stuff that maybe you have to do all the time to everyone. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. And
That's
go
right.
back to your previous point, what do the customers want? The customers want relevance. So if the better our data is, the more relevant our well-trained contract permanent consultants can ring up and be relevant to people.
So do you think it's got to be a tailored solution to the candidate, or you know, or is it more higher level, like contractor, perm person? They're very different, or is it really each individual needs their own experience?
I think each individual has their own experience. I think if you look at, again, the challenge for any services organisation is to deal with people how they'd like to be dealt with, and that includes multiple channels, that includes multiple products. So yeah, I mean, go back to the point, it's just got to be relevant to, you know, to say it's contract and say it's perm is just too simplistic.
Sure.
To say it's just IT or it's life sciences is too simplistic. And actually, those nuances and that understanding, I think you're absolutely right around that. You know, when you speak to someone, you can sense that they're in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You go, I'll give you a call in a couple of days.
Yeah. Glad it's not just me.
Yeah. Great. No, really good. And that was a really good debate. I really enjoyed that. And actually, I agree with you. There is those early stage stuff where it's really like, you know, just the information, data oriented stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. When it boils down to to get you to that next stage, absolutely.
Have you seen the Google thing where the AI personal assistant books a haircut?
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty impressive.
I mean, are you saying your AI is as powerful as Google's?
No.
If it is, I want in. I want to get you. I want to know what's going on there.
But I think I put something up on.
Even the inflections in that the robot's voice, you know, were just perfect. And it was like she answered
Yeah.
You know, that was crazy.
Let me just check when it didn't actually need to check.
I know.
But actually that's what human does.
I know. It's so crazy, isn't it? So yeah, I think those types of things are, you know, the advancement there is phenomenal. I just don't think it's going to hit recruitment for, you know, in 5 to 10 years. I think 5 to 10 years, that's when it will. But you know, who knows? Who knows? You know, we'll see.
I think.
But it's got to be a seamless experience,
I
you know, because a use case like booking the salon. But what if the person kept asking different questions? The robot will probably wig out, I reckon, because it didn't bring up the issues with, because it was a good short conversation.
Yeah.
But let's say, but what does she want a perm? The robot will probably tripped out, or you know, is her hair long or short?
But the point,
you know,
because
I'm from a family of hairdressers, and I used to be a hairdresser. Thank you very much. I spent 2 years in Tony and Guy. That was my first job, and you know, you do a consultation on the phone. So you'd be like, okay, cool. So how long's your hair? Cool. What are you looking to do with it? You know, and when was the last time you came to the salon? You know, what is this? What is this? And you'd ask more questions than that. So actually, the format there was cool to showcase how good Google's AI is, because it's fucking fantastic, and let's not take away from that. But I do think that it's not as advanced for, you know, that to be answering consultation questions.
I think the interesting thing is, however far people think AI is away, you halve it. And genuinely, I think some of the things that we're seeing around what's possible, you know, we can't even imagine how far AI will take and the impact it's going to have on our lives.
Well, let's take the Uber car, for instance, right? testing. They were testing in Arizona the driverless cars. Now
Yeah.
Tesla have done a great job driverless cars.
Yeah.
Now they have proprietary AI, which is awesome. Uber were doing it, and you'd think Uber have like the best minds in the world. They're a cash-rich company, but it killed someone.
Yeah, but people die on the road every day.
But what I'm saying is that, you know, you're saying however far AI is, half it. I tend to think that I don't think we're there yet to have a completely artificially intelligent world, because there's still so many flaws. Maybe, and I think that testing now, Uber's closed it down. Maybe because they don't have the
Don't
tech.
fancy a big lawsuit. Look, I think Google's a really good example, because what they're doing is they collect data. So Google Jobs, won't be interested in the job. It's going to be interested in the data. So Google map the world, data. They go and get all the data, then work out what to do with it. It's interesting, when we came in, we had Nirvana, Nevermind on. One of my favourite albums, loved it. And you told Alexa to turn it off. So actually, Alexa's listening to you all day. And,
I didn't tell her to turn it off because it's your favourite album. It's because we wanted to start the show.
We had a show to do. But the whole point is, actually, you're talking about the hairdressing experience. The point is, it will learn all that information. So, the paradox change has been that you used to have to teach these things how to learn. Now it works out how to learn. But
then, okay, so that's great, really good, great point, and I agree. But like our age people, like yourself, all of us, are we comfortable with Google or Uber having all that information on us? No, that's why we've got GDPR.
The big issue you're going to have.
Or Facebook,
AI,
for instance. Look at Facebook. Look at the shit that's just happened.
Yeah.
So we're not comfortable with that.
We're not comfortable, but we allow it. We carry around the biggest spy devices in the world.
Sure, but the thing is, we carry around the biggest spy device, but you still have your privacy controls, and you could set your own privacy controls.
Absolutely.
Similarly, so this is why I don't think we're ready, and I'll tell you, and I think there is a case for it, but for us, we're the generation existing right now, millennials, but my son's generation, he won't be phased that Google. My son's 2 years old. He'd be growing up around these Alexas and AI tools and whatnot. So he won't be phased by it, but we are. Because we're a bit like, well, fucking, I want to be private for a bit.
A little bit scared of it.
Exactly, we're a little bit scared. Exactly.
A little bit scared, not quite sure.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's like, people are scared of driverless cars, but if you trust the science, they're safer than they're safer than human-driven cars.
Yeah, I agree.
So even the Uber program is safer than but actually people can't get their heads around. So actually, it's people can't almost trust the science behind it that it works. Do you know what I think? We spend a lot of time looking at, and it's like everything, it's where you use AI, it's where you use blockchain. It's not tech for tech's sake. I think there's a lot coming, and you're going to see a lot in the next year or two that really will impact recruitment.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff coming, and I think in many ways, it's a great time in recruitment. I think it's an awesome time.
Fantastic time.
It's an exciting time, but I just disagree that AI is going to be. I think 5 to 10 years, but I may be wrong, and then I'll buy you a beer.
Can we do a bet? What can be our test?
Well, someone's got to be able to get me a job from candidate. An AI's got to be able to get me a job from finding me to placing.
Finding to placing.
Or is that too far?
I think complete automation, finding to send out, is possible this year.
Finding to send out.
Finding to send out. I think maybe if then you're talking about arranging interview through to.
All right, finding to send out this year then. So by the end of 2018, you think that finding to send out's going to happen? Right, let's shake on it. I'll buy you a beer. If not, you buy me a beer. Yeah.
Done.
Awesome. Great. Good. I'm looking forward to that beer. It's going to probably be the tastiest. Oh, because I'm well as well. I haven't drank for a day. 2 days.
What beer are you buying me?
Peroni.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Right. So, recruitment industry. You've been in it for quite some time.
Yep.
Right. You've been in it for quite some time. How much cronyism do you think is in the recruitment industry?
Cronyism?
Yeah. It's in like people, these sort of incestuous groups. How much of that is in the industry?
Do you know what? I think I think it's probably a smaller industry than people sort of have, and generally, if you look, a lot of the companies out there, I mean, there's a lot of companies if we talk about the UK, so I read somewhere there's 40,000 agencies in the UK, so, and there's about 1,000 starting a month, so generally people have worked somewhere. Generally someone doesn't come in and start their own agency because, you know, they've generally worked in recruitment, you know, they've got a number of years experience and they think, right, we'll go on self-and-own. So you're always going to have people who know people, and, you know, you're going to have those networks and relationships. You know, there's lots of guys who've left S3, going to start their own businesses, you know, Hayes, Pay, you know, all of those type of companies. You're going to have those people. So you can have people who know people. And you know, so look, there is a bit of a, you know, network, and you know, I think people know people.
Yeah, I get that. I guess that's not my question. My question is, you know, how much, you know, because I kind of, looking from, and obviously I'm in the recruitment industry, but I do feel like that, you know, unless you're in certain types of groups, or unless you're in certain types of, you know, circles, you know, people don't really want to know, or they have these certain opinions on you, and I think that's I think that's heavily influenced by, I guess, just the culture in recruitment. You know, it's quite, you know, white male dominated. It's quite, you know, there's a lot of strong heads, so everyone's like trying to be the alpha male and want to create their tribes around them. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Do you know, the industry is so fragmented, so, you know, and generally, you know, there's a few big companies, and there's a huge, you know, there's a few medium-sized companies, and there's a huge tail. So you generally, you know, your profile of your average recruitment company is going to be, you know, less than 10 people and owner managed, you know. So you're going to have lots and lots of those, you know, those typical characters. Yeah. I mean, look, one of the things that we're looking to progress is to change that. I mean, I think we're looking, the type of profile of person that we've generally recruited has you know, changed as we've gone through the years. You know, we're trying to promote recruitment more as a, you know, as a career with its international opportunities, and, you know, a lot more than just, you know, come in, you know, work, do KPIs and
sure.
And right, so, but, you know, I can't speak for, you know, smaller companies and how that happened. I think, you know, generally when we look at our peer group, you know, you're looking at the big quoted companies, and, you know, people know people.
Does S3, do you like these smaller companies that come along, and sort of like the 10 people companies?
Do you know what? The good thing about the small companies is they remind you, and the great thing about small companies is that you know, generally their top people still sell. So, and I think they really care about the customer because they have to, and they're generally, and you can learn a lot. So S3 is a big organisation, and what you find with big corporates is changing is quite difficult. So actually seeing how people do it and their agility, and, you know, actually sometimes, you know, is pretty inspiring around how to do that. I think the difficulty is in getting recruitment companies to scale.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen, you know, I think there are sort of big hurdles for people. People can get it to sort of 10, then to 50.
Yeah, so we've just passed out. Well, we're 12 now, and that even getting just past that was like.
Yeah. So
but I mean, it's not really. I think it's all about the business. Like, if the business is coming in, then that's it. But, you know, so it starts with the sales, doesn't it? It's all about the sales.
It starts with the sales, but then you've got various different inflection points. You know, do we go for a second office? You know, the owner manager then goes hands off, and, you know, then do we get a CFO in, and then do we open internationally, and then we go internationally, and so you've basically got these stage gates of scale investments, and for us, actually, you know, we're sort of past that point, and if we're looking at opportunities, they have to be enterprise grade. So you know, we would generally, I think the good thing about our organisation is, so once, you know, it's a machine. You point the machine at something, and it does it, and it does it brilliantly.
Yeah, sure.
So
great. But do you like working for a machine?
I love working.
No, sorry, I was going to end the interview, but then I think, because I think, you know, I like to think that recruited will become a machine one day, but I don't know how I feel about that. Do you know what I mean? I like our sort of culture of just, you know, just knees, like hands up, just fucking, just grinding away. You know, David versus Goliath. You know, I like that. Whereas one day I could see us becoming a Goliath, and I'm not sure I feel good about it.
But I absolutely, I think again it's a scale thing. You're looking at that from the eyes of someone with 12 people. We're looking at the eyes of someone with 3,000 people, and we're saying actually.
All right, it's not a competition, Andy.
Well, it's not a competition, but think. So we're the 29th largest staffing company. Appreciate that fluctuates around. So hopefully I've got the latest SIA figures. But we want to be in the top 10.
Yeah, sure.
So there's always a big fish.
So there's always something to. Yeah, exactly. That's great.
So we're sat there and thinking, right, how do we get there? And actually, we need to develop new propositions. We need to develop new products. So actually, what we should never lose is that challenger mentality.
Yeah,
because
sure.
the challenger mentality is the one that gets you 28, 25, and we're going to hunt these guys down.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Great way to end the show. Thanks so much for coming on, Andy. I really do appreciate it. Oh, yeah. We've got previous news of a previous day segment that we need to do, which is every time that we have this show, we talk about something that's happened previously in the news. There was something that I wanted to discuss the other day, but what are you thinking?
Papua New Guinea is shutting down Facebook to study its effects on the population.
Oh, wow. So Papua New Guinea is shutting down Facebook to study its effects on the population. What do you think is going to happen? What findings do you think they're going to find?
There's going to be less likes, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
I think actually people's thumbs and arthritis will improve. Generally, people might speak to people. People might actually ask how they're being as opposed to seeing them in a feed. So
sure.
I think what you'll actually, Facebook for me has allowed me to keep much broader, longer relationships, but with people I probably wouldn't have kept in contact with. So it will be interesting to see how those sort of marginal relationships are affected in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, because it just brings it back to just being siloed Papua New Guinea rather than Well, but then they could just go to Twitter, can't they? And they could just go to Recruited and just connect with people there.
Everyone's on Instagram anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, but maybe they're shutting down Instagram too, because Facebook is.
Instagram, yeah.
Exactly.
Perhaps it's just a tactic to. Perhaps they've not got enough followers on Instagram, so they shut down Facebook. To me, you've always got to be looking at this crowd governance. Or perhaps Papua New Guinea have got their own social network
that they want to flog. Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
And they're seed stage, so they think, do you know, if we get all our users on board
exactly.
now, we can go and raise.
We can raise a good bit of cash. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about it. Like, who are Papua New Guinea to say that we can take away
how does
this?
It shut down? So if you rock up in Papua New Guinea, is your Facebook blocked?
Exactly, and can't they just use a virtual private network?
Well, I don't know.
So I think.
Bring the news. I don't know.
I know. Well, I think Papua New Guinea needs to think a bit more about their strategy over here. What's the next piece of news?
Right. So obviously we're not going to talk about it, but it's good. The EU purposes a ban on single-use plastics. That's good. That's good news.
I think that's massively good news.
What does that mean?
So do you know what? Everything you use is plastic, and you like why?
Straws,
Why do Prep put their little stir? You know when you get one of the white filter coffees, they put a little stir in the top.
They're getting rid of those.
I think
in the next few months, I think.
Plastic forks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wooden fork and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. So
well, why not just say, look, you've got to have your own forks, or otherwise you buy them. Like, you've got to bring steel forks around
You're
here.
also not allowed to carry around implements.
Yeah, you don't want to be carrying. Yeah, I'm carrying a knife. Yeah. Oh, what's your excuse?
I'm eating.
It's my tuna and this was salad. Yeah. Yeah. It suddenly becomes a defence in law.
Yeah. What else we got, Dylan?
This was good. Okay, so an obscure. This is from Wired, by the way. These aren't my words.
But by the way, you're putting these stories over the top of the video, yeah? When we go and talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And then put it over the top, let it shrink down into this corner. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so an obscure Chinese firm has taken over London's black cabs without anyone noticing. Its next target is to beat Uber at its own game.
That will happen. I'm telling you.
How do they beat Uber?
Well, they'll probably just pump a load of cash into and make their rides cheaper, into an app and make their rides cheaper. That's the only way you can really beat Uber, isn't it?
That's a race to the bottom, isn't it?
Huh? Well,
To go back to
you've got to think about Chinese money. Chinese money is a lot more money than most people's money.
So what are they going to do? They're going to try and blast Uber out of the water, but they're only doing it in London.
But then they've also got the issue where maybe they'll just get into lobbyists or the equivalent of lobbyists over here, and keep Uber's ban happening, and then the local black cabs, because also they're local black cabs. You got to think about it. There's more heritage there, and I'd much rather use a black cab, but actually it's a bit more expensive, so I'm going to go for Uber.
Yeah. So
you see, I'm pretty. If an Uber's easier, I'll do it. But if a black cab's easier, I'll do it. But I actually prefer the black cab experience.
Yeah, but you're at the top. You're a director, mate.
Generally, I'll walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally, because it's quicker to walk round there.
Yeah.
By the time you're in a taxi.
It is actually quicker, especially in that road. Yeah, it's much quicker to walk.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Or get a tube or something like that.
Oh, tube? No. I'm only joking. I just don't get tubes because I just go to Liverpool Street and walk here. Situated the office really well. Great, thanks, Dylan. Those are really good segments. Great, awesome, Andy. Such a great talk.
Cheers.
Really great to have you on the show.
When are we going to do you a beer? When you buy me?
When you lose, you're going to buy me one, and then
Right.
and then I'll buy you one afterwards because obviously it's round for round.
So tell you what, when we've done it and demo it, we come back on the show and explain it all, yeah?
Let's fucking do it.
Cool. Right, great, man.